This is going to be a video on how to look at a John Deere combine. So right here you see this pivot point. That shows you that it's a Contour Master. You also look for that sticker right there. You can tell it's got the tilt feeder house. A lot of times when a combine's been in a lot of rice, it'll show wear right up in here. A lot of times you'll see holes, or you'll see a new pan has been laid in there. On this one, I do not see that. You need to look underneath the feeder house. A lot of times there'll be holes wore through up in here, and you'll see patches. This one looks pretty good so far. On your old 9770 series and 9870, all them, your serial number patch will be up in here. Your serial number plate, but they've moved that. So we're gonna walk around. Junior, let me look up in there for a minute.
All right.
So you're on the driver's left side. You need to look at all this, which usually up top there's not any problems on these, but you always need to look for a patch. Now, right in here, there's usually a black door that goes across here. You always need to pop that one off, and as you can see why. Patch right there, holes. They've already patched it once and the patch is already wore through again, and it looks horrible. A lot of rice has been run through this machine, as you can see right there. That's where it always shows up. It never hurts to look back here, but that usually doesn't show up. It shows up right in there. And it doesn't hurt to look up here on the drum top, make sure something hasn't been run through and jammed a big old hole in it. Always check your shaker arms. A lot of times these are bad about getting loose or breaking loose and wearing this out and notching it out. Right here, another patch has been put on there. Need to look underneath your chopper. I mean, wore out. On a case combine, when you're looking at like an 8120 or an 8230, etc., they have an internal chopper. So you need to look at the rear end, and you'll see up in here on a case, that's where the knives will sling off the chopper sometimes and put notch holes in them. You always need to look at your unloading tube, make sure they ain't hit stuff with it, which is pretty common. A lot of times, which is surprising on this combine, this elbow right here, it's got a hole in it up there, which I don't know if you can zoom it in and see. Sun's kind of bright in my eyes, but it's got a little pinhole wore in it. Normally them things are bad about having big old patches on them. I'm surprised this one does not. On the 9770, you always need to look at this area of the chopper because the bearing's exposed on them. A lot of times they'll heat on them and weld on them and beat on them. There's more shaker arms that you need to look. You'll see ones that don't have green paint have been replaced, which ain't no big deal, but you just need to make sure that's not been wallered out or notched out. And you always need to check your augers in here, see the thickness, and look at your teeth on here. And as you can see, there's always, for some reason, these get patched right there. And you need to look in here. Even on case combines, you need to look at this because they're bad about wearing out. check your sprockets and your flighting in here. That flighting is wore out. It is sharp. You touch it, it's sharp. Of course, you can tell by looking at this one, it's wore out. A lot of times, these up in here will be patched too, which surprising this one is not. Really surprising. No patches underneath there. All that looks pretty good. And this is on an S670, a 12 model. Overall, the outside appearance looks good. And that's where people go wrong. They show up the paint shiny so they don't look it over. And it's missing a step, which ain't too big of a deal. You always look through here. A lot of times there'll be some patching in there. That really don't look bad. I can see some piece of sheet metal in there is worn through. No big deal. Whoops, sorry about that. I'm gonna look over in the grain tank. Now you'll see that auger right in there is way wore out. It looks horrible. You need to look at the belly augers, which they look okay. A lot of rust in here, which tells you that rice it's been setting for a while, but it's had a lot of rice knock your green paint off down in there. Cab on it doesn't look bad. It really doesn't. Clean up good. You know, outside appearance, if you look at this combine in pictures and you don't see those patches, you think, oh, it's a 75, you know, $1,000 machine. You get to look at the bad places I've just showed you and it knocks it down about 25, 30,000. Not good. So that's why it's important to see those places I showed you. And I'm probably forgetting to tell y'all some stuff, but that's okay. You got the basics. You know what to look for. Let's see if I can get you up close to that hole in there. Big area to watch for patches right in there. It really doesn't matter if you're looking at a 97, 70, an S series, whatever. Basically, the areas I showed you on this green machine, on a red one's going to be similar. Although when you're looking at a red one, instead of looking on the driver's left side, you need to look on the driver's right side. You need to pull those white doors off on it and check it over. And something else while I'm thinking about it, make sure it's got a four-wheel drive. A lot of times you'd say, well, the tires were turned the front way or it had big tires. That doesn't always matter. I made that mistake one time and bought a two-wheel drive when it's supposed to be a four-wheel drive. So check all those things over. And really you need to get up and look around the motor area, but I'm not going to do that today because you got the gist of it. So, all right. Thanks for watching.